This week we're gonna look at the chart for Jamal Khashoggi, who was born in Saudi Arabia, October 13, 1958, and time of birth was rectified to 4:48 a.m. So at the time he was born, you would see the ascendant uh, Virgo rising on the eastern horizon at 4 degrees and 38 minutes. We know that Virgos are Earth sign, and they are also a dual sign. So they can be flexible, but also can be inconsistent. And they can be stubborn and controlling, and they make very good critics. And so he was a political pundit or critic of the in the Arab world. So we're going to first look at how the planets are operating, and then we'll look at when they were operating. So first, Sun is at 25 degrees. Any planets that rule Multicona signs in the 6th, 8th, or the 12th house become functional malefic, which doesn't mean anything bad, just means that they can be challenging at certain times during the chart, during the lifetime. So we see that Sun is, you see the sign of Leo, fifth sign of Leo, in the 12th house. And that's ruled by Sun. So Sun becomes a functional malefic. And the 12th house has to do with separation, exile, imprisonment, uh, hospitalization, depression, letting go of attachments for spiritual growth. So it also has to do with spiritual growth. And it is located in that very first house, the house that has to do with life purpose. And Sun represents government and politics. So, and this house also has to do with foreign travel, foreign living in distant places. So, and it's afflicted by Rahu and K2. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe it's K2. Well, anyway, you always afflicted by Rahu because yeah, it's within 4 degrees of Rahu. So this shows his relationship to God. He had many relationships with political figures, and it shows that there is this possibility of exile, from separation from his homeland. Moon is at 28 degrees. So any planet that's more than 25 degrees or less than 4 degrees becomes weak, and it cannot protect or promote its own significations. So Moon has to do with ruling this house of income, friendships, fulfillment of desires. And it's, again, he has all these planets, 1, 2, 3, 4, and Rahu, the node of the moon, in the north node of the moon in that first house. So, and it's a Multicona sign house. So we can say that any house that contains a Multicona sign are the things that he's going to be working on in this lifetime. So life purpose, health, and longevity, all expressed by this house. So you got Sun, politics; Moon, working with the public; Venus, writing, um, um, and wife. And then you have in the second house recognition, uh, and fame, and the continuation of the marital bond is something he's working on family, happiness, working on conflicts and health, and healing, working on discovering or researching into things that are hidden, um, and obstacles, and working on income friendships as well as spiritual growth through letting go of attachments. So those are the main things that he's working on in this lifetime. Moon, has to do with public discourse, and it's afflicted by Rahu and Sun. So 25 within 3 degrees here of Sun, and Sun is again that functional malefic. So um, this affects his peace of mind, his emotions, um, and again can affect income, friendships, and fulfillment of desires. So Mars is at 9 degrees. Mars is located the Aries, the sign of Aries. The first sign of Aries is located in the 8th house. And so it is ruled by Mars. So Mars again becomes functional malefic. And again, research into the truth, death like experiences, um, windfalls, things like that, inheritance, all coming, having to do with this house. And it's placed in the house of good fortune and teaching. So I really see this ambition to teach through journalism and uncover hidden things about governments and people. So I see that as a good connection there. And then at some points when Mars is transiting certain houses and things, it can cause death-like experiences and transformations. Mercury is at 1 degrees, very weak, and it is not a functional malefic. That's wrong, but it is this first house of life purpose, and it is placed in the house of recognition, a continuation of the marital bond, and wealth. So Mercury has to do with writing and publishing, and it is basically the ruler of Virgo. So it's Virgos make very good critics because of this Mercury, that the Mercury is weak. So I would say this may have an effect on the continuation of the marital bond. I guess he was married 4 times. And then his reputation, which is quite controversial. So that Jupiter has to do with law, legal things. It is ruling the house of home life and family, happiness. I guess he had several homes in his lifetime, several places that he lived. Jupiter's at 13 degrees, and it's placed in, again, this house of recognition, wealth, and continuation of the marital bond. And Venus, we know, is the landlord for the house that these planets are in. So, 13 is a good degree, but the landlord is, let's see here. Landlord is in this house, ruling that house. So, anyway, so we see that Jupiter's effect in this chart is influenced in such a way that it can affect his family life and his happiness. And also, he runs outside the normal laws of convention. Venus is at 18 degrees. It's in this first house. And again, ruling this house of marital bond. Oh, okay. So Venus is debilitated. So that's what I was trying to figure out, why Jupiter was weak. So a planet can not be any stronger than the landlord of its house. So because Jupiter, Venus is weak, Jupiter becomes weak also. Venus is wife again, multiple wives, but and yeah, multiple marriages. Saturn's at 27 degrees, and Saturn rules the sixth house. So sixth house, this house is one of the Dustana houses that causes challenges. You find the 11th sign of Aquarius ruled by Saturn. Saturn becomes functional malefic, and it's also weak at 27 degrees. And Saturn is located in this house of communications, entrepreneurial success, writing, publishing. So this ruling this house of conflict and health issues brings that conflict into the house of communication. So controversial communication through his journalism. Rahu and Ketu at 29 degrees, they are functional malefic for every sign. And so Rahu gives strong ambition, but dissatisfaction, So Rahu is in this first house, and it can affect self-esteem, and K2 is in this house of relationships. So it brings some dissatisfaction with relationships, and ultimately probably is the reason why he had multiple marriages. So he was quite well known as a critic of Saudi Arabia, the princes, and a lot of the political things. And he was murdered on October 2nd, 2018. And so if we look at what was happening on that date, we look at the animated transit chart. So the outer circle is where the planets were when he was murdered, and the inner circle is where the planets were when he was born. So we call these the inner circle the natal planets, and the outer circle the transit planets. So we can see that K2 and Mars were very close together. K2 and Mars both can create unexpected experiences. Mars rules this house of death-like experiences. So that's one thing that kind of jumps right out. Now also, you see a lot of planets transiting this house of recognition, reputation. So let's see here. So K2 is afflicting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 natal Mars and transit Mars, both having to do with. So K2 is unexpected catastrophes, and Mars is this death-like experience, longevity. So we see a definite connection there, and anything that's within 5 degrees has a huge impact. So Mars is close to the most effective point, which is 4 degrees. It's at 9 degrees, and so K2 in the transit chart is at 9 degrees. So right on the most effective point, afflicting natal Mars and transit Mars. And then, yeah, we can see how this death-like experience could have happened on this date. So what could we have done to remedy this chart, to strengthen? Most all of his planets are weak for one reason or another, except, let's see, no, all of them are weak or malefic. So transforming Mars and Saturn and Sun by chance and charities for father-like figures, charities for men that are like brothers, charities for those who cannot help themselves, and listening to Shiva chants on Saturdays, Hanuman chants on Tuesdays, and Sundays, listening to Vishnu chants would be transforming the malefics. And then to strengthen the other planets like Moon, Mars, Moon, Mercury, Jupiter, and Venus, by wearing a kavash that contains the Devata Yantra for those planets would be one way. He could also wear yellow colors, green colors, white colors. He could wear a pearl, he could wear an emerald, he could wear a yellow sapphire, he could wear a diamond. So those would be the ways to strengthen those planets. So if you're interested in a reading, you can go to vastucreations.com under services, and there are astrology readings there that you can choose from. And then if you wish to learn how to do transformational Vedic astrology, you can go to AmericanInstituteOfVastu.com. Thank you for listening.